Hello humans, Master Dinnerflex here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and you saw this thumbnail. You did, I know you did, and I know for a fact you're in for some ignorance, and I've gladly given this to you. This is what I would like to call Halloween Turbo. I tried to cram as many different spooky archetypes into one deck at once, while it having a cohesive strategy on some level that it is at least playable. And by the thumbnail, by whatever, by the title, you think, oh, this is one of Master Dinnerflex's meme decks. It is. But when I finally got the final version down, it actually surpassed that 50% win rate limit, so it could qualify as not one. But, I mean, it's spooky. That's all I have to say. This deck is very spooky. I'll be getting into the card choices. There are going to be plenty of replays for you guys to watch or have in the background and not pay attention to, so then you can comment on how I didn't do a thing when it's in the video. That's going to be my favorite part. But let's get into it. For the deck number one, it's, of course, the scariest thing of all, Obsession. Lair of Darkness is my obsession, blah, 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 I get it. So, the reason I chose this one, besides the fact that I am Master Dinnerflex, is it was the only archetype I could think of that could simulate the illusion of tricks and treats, because basically you trick them by sacrificing them to the Dark God, and then your treat is plague upon sinful man. So I think that's a pretty cool thing. You trick or treat, a little like fun, goofy nonsense. And I'm actually this deck is 60 cards, so I just played a lot of them. A lot of Ladies of Lament. Yeah, even 2 Malice, which is, I guess, a little weird, but I wanted more tribute things, and that she's one of them. Then 3 Arima to search the field spell or do literally anything else. And then finally, a card I'd never thought I'd be that interested again in, Diablos. This deck is 60 cards, and I got to a point where I just needed to find cards to put in there. Well, at the same time, I didn't have enough room to add in a new archetype. So, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it has, like, a lot of really cool synergies with other things, but he's just big guy. Next, for the next archetype, which isn't a technical archetype, but it's the Ladies from the Underworld, we got 3 Tour Guide, 1 Beat Cop, which synergizes with the Lair of Darkness, and then my Cracker, which is definitely scary. Twitch is so terrified of this monster's name, they will literally ban you for it. This had a synergy with basically all the other Fiend archetypes, so very good. And I think the thing that terrifies most people about this archetype is if you're like an incel, there's nothing more terrifying than women as productive members of the workforce. So we got 3 Tour Guide, a dog, it's just a level 8 Fiend when it unalives from the field. And that pivots into our next archetype, Labyrinth. Now, this is also pretty terrifying, because there's nothing more terrifying than just talking to your crush. If you have a crush on a knight, you can't just go over to her and ask her out. You gotta devise a massive scheme to have this giant labyrinth filled with death traps just to try to get her attention. But no, you can't ask her out. It's too terrifying. So we got 3 Lady of the Labyrinth. It does a lot of cool stuff. Then, for the next archetype, we got Shadalls, because there's nothing more terrifying than a Winda jump scare. Boo. They also help you facilitate seeing new cards with, like, Shadal Beast and Windy and Hedgehog and... like, all of them can continue this cycle. The only one that doesn't at all is Dragon. It just pops. But that's an effect I didn't want to miss out on. And even Ariel can keep monsters in circulation. But this one is also a lot more like a Dragon, where you kind of just want to use its graveyard effect rather than its ability to maintain resources. But it does both, which is nice. And then finally, the last main deck archetype is Vampires. Because there's nothing more terrifying than the fact that Konami has yet to release a new Castlevania game in a really long time. But they'll make new vampire support, I guess, which... It's not the same, but this card is like the only vampire in the main deck that was worth playing at all. And it's only because Vampire Awakening can summon it out of the deck, and it's a really interesting way to disrupt tier limits. Because this card's negation is one of the weirdest I've ever seen in the game. When a monster effect is activated that has a name that's already in a graveyard, you can negate it. So that's really weird, but basically, if a monster effect activates, and at the time it does it, that name exists in the graveyard, you can negate it. So pretty much when a tier dumps itself, and then it activates to try to fusion summon, you can negate it. If an Ash Blossom is active while this is out, you can negate it because it's hitting the graveyard. A Dimension Shifter, it can do a lot of really interesting things, but not gonna lie, this is absolutely the worst archetype in this deck list. Very cuttable, very... you can do with whatever. I will say, at least it has some cute synergy. When it's Tribute Summoned, yeah, level 8 Tribute Summon, you can just take 2 cards out of your opponent's graveyard and do whatever you want with them. Like Link Summon, that is. And then finally, while it's in the graveyard and your opponent summons a monster out of it, you can tribute 2 monsters to summon this out of the graveyard, and because it's an effect for those tributes, it actually has synergy with Lair of Darkness. But to be fair, definitely the worst engine in this deck. For the spells, 2 Lair of Darkness, 1 Labyrinth. So we have this toolbox between all the archetypes. 3 Ties of Brethren, because, what is it, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, at least like 12 level 3 Fiends, and all these clumped together are very nice. And then Ghost Trick Shot for the other archetype. Yeah, I didn't forget Ghost Tricks. Don't worry, I didn't forget them. But I didn't forget them in the way MBT didn't forget Ghost Tricks. I'm just playing the Alucard slot shot package. I'm sorry, it's just you can't really make Ghost Tricks work as an own independent deck. It's just missing too many things right now. There's like some cute stuff you can do with it, but it's just, they're definitely missing something that bridges the extra deck monsters and the main deck monsters together. That's the problem I see with the deck right now. But now for the traps. Now, this is what actually makes the deck scary, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are terrified of traps. So terrified, they assume all of them that have ever existed are floodgates. Like, Sinister Shadow Games is MST sometimes. That makes it a floodgate. Dogmatica Punishment can pop 2 cards, so it's a floodgate. Paleozoic Dinomischus is a -1 removal, which makes it a floodgate. This is Monster Reborn, so it's a floodgate. Okay, this one's actually a floodgate. Daruma Cannon, it sets all monsters, and because we have Shaddolls in the deck, that's actually really cool. It lets you recycle some stuff, but this is a floodgate. Monster Reborn is a floodgate. Vampire Awakening summons a really weird negation, so it's a floodgate. This kit one can also be a floodgate. Then we got Boo Boo Game. Now, the reason I chose this one is because it has the word boo in the name twice, and it's about 2 VTubers getting canceled by Sunny, so that's pretty terrifying. 3 Compulse, it's a floodgate. And then this one's actually a floodgate. Watch out for your kids' candy. I found a full playset of different Dimension Grounds in one of the candy bars, so just be careful with that. And then for the side deck, we got 15 of the most terrifying cards I could think of. Dimension Shifter, Mystic Mind, Shaddol Fusion, Evenly Matched, Skill Drain. It's just like actually spooky, and this one is far less sarcastic than anything I've said so far. For the extra deck, we've got the My Cracker. This is the one that gets you banned on Twitch. This is the one that protects Mystic Mind and synergizes with the Lair of Darkness. This is Edgy Emo. This is another Edgy Emo on a horse. And then this is the last card of the Vampire archetype, Fascinator. It actually might seem a little difficult to summon, but all it requires is 1 zombie of its 3 materials. So you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Not to mention, this is actually just a pretty good generic link if you have zombie access. So I think this one's pretty good. And Alucard is like infinite recurring body, so it has a lot of synergy with this, and you can do some cool stuff. Then for the Ghost Trick package, this is probably the most terrifying thing about this deck list. 1 Alucard, 1 Angel of Mischief. Yeah, no F-Zero. It just turns out what I'm doing with it instead is Tour Guide into Lilith, and I'll go into this package to recruit the shot for every turn, but then I just make my Cracker and then summon Lilith and get a generic trap, because it turns out any trap I'm going to get with it is better than F-Zero. So, I have more extra deck space, and I actually get to other engines, so yeah. And I still get the free recurring body, which is actually the best part of the Ghost Trick engine, conventionally. The whatever 30 bajillion hand trap deck, that F-Zero actually matters, but not here. Leviair, don't know why I'm playing it. DDDs are also pretty terrifying because they're corporate executives, so that's like some of the scariest stuff ever. I can't think of an XC more spooky than Zeus. And then we got the Chadal package to go with Punishment, Schism, and all that. 2 Apocalyphort, and then 1 Winda. Turns out, only really need 1 Winda. There's like a unique synergy with Schism and Lair of Darkness, where no matter what fusion you summon, it's going to be dark, and whatever monster your opponent has is also only dark. So, while you have both of them up, it doesn't matter what fusion you summon, it's getting taken off the board. So, I didn't find a need for that many Chadals, and I don't usually try to win the game with Winda staying up forever. I just need it to stall a turn sometimes. And you can even revive it back with, like, Back to the Front and Incarnation, so I'm totally fine with just 1. And to make Punishment even scarier than normal, even though it is the most normal target for it to send. So, what are my thoughts on this deck? It is absolutely 60 cards, and has proven to me once again, the more you try to make your deck consistent, the less it is, because I'm thoroughly convinced at this point, if you just put more cards in your deck might just function better. Jesus fucking Christ. I've been playing like 40 card layer lists for a while, and this one actually just feels more playable than that, and I'm curious. Final thing I forgot to mention, which the Labyrinth Discord pointed out to me. There are ways, it's actually really cool. Lady of the Labyrinth, if you summon her early and have a true chainable trap to go with her, like a DDG or a, I don't know, a Shadow Games, you're able to make her a pseudo Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Because what you can do is you can, if they activate Harvey's Feather Duster or Lightning Sword for your back row, you can go ahead and chain one of the true chainables, and then you can activate Labyrinth in response to set this boo-boo game. And because of that, after they Lightning Storm, you just get to reset 2 traps, which is pretty intense. I find that to be pretty good. That's the actual reason I play boo-boo game, by the way. Has nothing to do with the words, if that's the only reason. But now that I've terrified you to the bone, it's time to get into some replays.
Choose your fighter. Lightning inspired. Fight.
So, what have we learned from this? Hopefully nothing, because I wasn't trying to teach you anything. I was actively trying to scare you. So if you think you've learned something, get that out of your head right now. But yep, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinnerflax will take your soul.